The Star Painter. In a quiet village where the nights were darker than ink, a young boy named Arl lived with his grandfather in a small cottage by the hills. Every night, the sky stretched above them, vast and empty, without a single star to light the way. The villagers often spoke of how the stars had once filled the heavens, but one by one they had disappeared, leaving only the moon behind. Arel had never seen a real star, but he had heard the stories. His grandfather, an old artist with silver hair and calloused hands, would sit by the window each night, gazing at the black sky. Once, the world was full of light, he would say. The stars danced above us, and their glow brought dreams to those who looked upon them. One evening, as Arl mixed paints for his grandfather's latest canvas, he asked, "If the stars are gone, can't someone bring them back?" His grandfather smiled, a twinkle in his eyes. Perhaps, if someone knew how to paint with light. Arl thought about this long after his grandfather had fallen asleep. He wanted to see the stars, more than anything. And so, that night, he took his grandfather's paintbrushes, a small lantern, and a pot of shimmering silver paint he had secretly mixed from crushed pearls and moonlight. He climbed the tallest hill outside the village, where the wind whispered secrets through the grass. Standing at the peak, he dipped his brush into the glowing paint and reached up. With a careful stroke, he traced a small dot onto the sky. The moment his brush lifted, the dot began to glow. A tiny, flickering light. Arl's heart pounded. He painted another and another. One by one, the stars returned, sparkling like diamonds against the dark. As he worked, a voice echoed around him, a soft, celestial hum. "Who wakes the stars?" Arl hesitated but answered, "I only wanted to see them again." The voice, warm like the summer wind, replied, "Then you shall be their keeper." And so, night after night, Arel climbed the hill, painting new stars, each one brighter than the last. The villagers awoke to a sky reborn, and dreams returned to those who looked upon the heavens. They never knew who had brought back the stars. But every night, Arel smiled, knowing that with each stroke of his brush, he was painting light into the world. And if you ever look up at the sky and see a star that wasn't there before, perhaps somewhere the star painter is still at work. The Library of Lost Dreams. Deep in the heart of an ancient forest, where the trees whispered secrets and the wind carried forgotten songs, there was a hidden library unlike any other. It had no doors, no windows, only a single golden key that appeared in the hands of those who truly needed it. One evening, a young girl named Alara sat by her bedroom window, staring at the moon. She had once dreamed of becoming a great musician, filling concert halls with melodies that could make even the stars weep. But somewhere along the way, she had lost that dream. It had faded like an old melody she could no longer remember. That night, as she turned to her bedside table, she found something strange resting on her pillow. A small golden key. She held it up, and as soon as her fingers wrapped around it, a soft breeze filled her room. The walls shimmered like the surface of a pond, and when she blinked, she was no longer in her bedroom. She stood before a towering library, its shelves stretching endlessly in every direction. Books of every size and color filled the space, their covers glowing faintly in the dim candlelight. A figure appeared from the shadows, a tall man with silver eyes and ink-stained hands. "Welcome to the Library of Lost Dreams," he said with a gentle smile. Alara's heart pounded. Lost dreams? The librarian nodded. Every dream ever forgotten, abandoned, or misplaced finds its way here. They wait for their dreamers to return. Alara hesitated. "But I don't know if my dream is still here." The librarian gestured to the endless shelves. Dreams never disappear. They only wait to be found. Something inside her stirred. Slowly, she walked through the aisles, running her fingers along the books. Some were thick and ancient, others small and delicate. Then, tucked between a book of forgotten adventures and a journal of unsung poetry, she sought a music book with her name embossed in gold. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Notes danced across the pages, melodies she had once hummed in the quiet of the night. With each page she turned, the music grew louder in her mind until she could hear it as clearly as if she had never stopped playing. Tears welled in her eyes. Her dream had never left. She had only forgotten where to look. As she closed the book, the library began to fade. The shelves blurred, the candles flickered, and in the next blink, she was back in her room. The golden key was gone. But on her desk, where there had been nothing before, sat her old violin. She picked it up, hesitated for only a moment, then drew the bow across the strings. The first note rang out, clear and strong. And far away, in a library hidden between worlds, the librarian smiled. Another dream had found its way home.